Live? Yeah, we're live. Um, so in this lesson, we're going to be just revisiting Ohm's Law, which we've put up an instructional video about already. And we're going to be doing some of the applications of it and some calculations. So the first thing I want to start with is, I love electricity. There's so many little exciting jokes. So what do electricians chant when they meditate? Om. Yeah, it's great. I love them. So what we're going to start with is we just draw the basic Ohm's triangle. Now, how you use this triangle is to get the formulas. So the way I always have it conceived is that, let's say if I'm looking for the formula for V, for volts, I just put my finger over the volts, and I'm left with I and R next to each other. Now in math, when you have things next to each other, we multiply, right? So I'm left with I times R. If I'm looking for I, well, I just put my finger over the I, and I'm left with V over R, okay? And so in math, when you have something over something, this is just divide. So V over R. And if I'm looking for R, my finger over R, and I'm left with V over I. Okay? And those are just your three formulas for that we can get out of Ohm's law. And that's basically how you use it. It's as simple as that. So let's get into some of the math problems. Now, before we do the math problems, though, we got to remember what the units for these three units are. So the unit for V are volts, and the symbol for those is V. Okay. Now remember, these are metric units, so it is possible to have something like, kilovolts, megavolts, millivolts. So remember, if you see those, you always have to convert it back to the base unit of volts using our standard way that we would do with like measurement and weight. Measurement, like mass and distance, volume, those same sort of things. Okay, the one for I is amps, or amperes, but we'll just go amps because it's quicker to write. And that's A, and the same thing, it can be in these sort of things. And then the symbol for R, it's ohms. Okay. Now, not with the apostrophe, because this is the law that he created. It's his law, where ohms is just plural, because you're going to have more than one unit, and that one is the symbol. It looks like an upside down horseshoe. Okay, so now we're ready to go. All right, so what I have here is three questions. Each one we're solving for a different variable, and we'll refer back to our triangle if we need to. So I'll just put the little triangle back up here quickly so we have it, and it's just V over I R. All right. So the first question states that we have 12 volts, 4 amps, and we're missing the unit in ohms. So you can just go ahead and put that unit in there just to remind us as we have it. And let's go ahead and solve it. So if we're looking for R, we just put our pencil or finger over R, and we're left with V over I. So we'll just go R is equal to V over I. Now, I highly encourage you to write out the formula first instead of just plugging in the numbers. All right, and then you just go equals beside it. Our number is 12 volts. Replace V, replace I, which is 4 amps. And at the end of the day, 12 divided by 4 is 3 ohms. Now, there is something else we need to add down here, but we'll do it on the next page. And that's not what this one is about. So there we go, 3 ohms. Okay, to get volts, same thing. We put our little finger over volts. I times R. So V is equal to I times R, which is equal to 2 amps times 3.5 ohms, which gives us 2 times 3.5 is 7 volts, because that's the unit for volts, right? Okay. There we go. And let's look at the last one. If we're looking for I, Just put our pen over I. We have V over R. So I is equal to V over R. V is equal to 8 volts. R is equal to 2 ohms. And 8 divided by 2 gives us 4. And the unit would be 4 amps. Okay. Now, the one thing I didn't check on these, because I knew I hadn't done it, is I didn't check to make sure that these were just the base units. I think maybe it's because I've been doing these for so long, I just automatically look at it, but make sure that these are always in volts, amps, and ohms, that we don't have any milli or kilo or any of that stuff, because you would have to convert it if it was. And so now we're going to look at another problem, and that might actually be the case here. Okay, so let's take a look. Now, what we always want to do when solving word problems is we want to use what's called the guess method. Now, we're not going to guess the answer. Okay? It's just an acronym used to tell us. We always got to state the given, identify the unknowns, provide an equation, solve the equation, and give a statement at the end. And the key for you to know this is that, I mean, as soon as you see an unknown, we should have actually provided a little word statement here, right? You know, therefore, you know, the resistance is 3 ohms. Yeah. Anytime we give you any of these problems where it has like a couple of variables, you want to definitely use this method to do it. And this shouldn't be new. Ms. Engelhardt, when did we do this? We did this in the skills unit. When else did we do this? I feel like we've done it a few times.
Space? Did we do it? No, we didn't do it in space.
Oh, chemistry with density.
Chemistry,
right?
density.
Yeah. Okay. Yep. Okay. Cool. Yeah. So we've done this a few times. So this should be you know, an old bag for you. Now, if let's say you're taking a math course or you had a different science teacher, and they use a different kind of acronym, it's fine. We're going to get the same kind of end product here. It's going to look the same. You know, I've seen grasp. What else? What else is there? Guess, grasp, grass. Yeah, they're all, you know, they all get you to the same place. So don't worry about it. Use whatever method works for you, but I'm just going to give you one so you know it. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is identify the given. If I read the question, a radio uses 20 volts and 500 milliamps. Oh, I'm just going to underline that because it doesn't look like amps, does it? Milliamps of electricity. What is this resistance? Okay, cool. So I know I'm dealing with an Ohms triangle, right? I'm looking for resistance. From the previous page, I know R. We're not going to put the film thing that. Now, I always look to put the unknown first. R, V, and I. But it doesn't matter. You can have this in any order you want. It's okay. So if I want to go my givens, well, I know the volts, which is 20 V. And then I got 500 milliamps. Now, I can't just leave it like that. Now, if you remember back to conversion of units, like let's say I had 500 millimeters and I wanted in meters. Well, how many millimeters in a meter? Well, it's 1,000, right? So I would just divide that by 1,000. And I ended up with 0.5 meters. Well, it'd be the same thing here, right? If I had 500 milliamps, 500 is half of 1,000. I end up with 0.5 amps. And if you don't remember how to do it, we had that little staircase, right? Or if I had meters here, I had decimeter, centimeters, millimeters. So I got to go down 3 steps. So I divide it by 10 3 times, so 3 zeros. Okay. So if you don't remember that, you can go back and review that information. But nonetheless, here we go. So I've now done the given. What's my unknown here? Well, it's going to be resistance. So I just put a question mark, and you can put the unit for good practice. Although if you don't put that in there, I'm not going to be too particular about that. Do you tell them to put that in or no?
Sometimes.
Sometimes, yeah. Again, it's
good to know what unit is.
Yeah, but if they don't have it, it's fine, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's my unknown. Equation. Well, I go back to my Ohms triangle, looking for R, put my finger over R. What do I have? V over I. Okay, so you can write it down here, you can write it up here, doesn't matter. R is equal to V over I. Oh, there you go. I got the equation. Now I want to set up the equation. Okay, so I got the equation. Now I want to solve it, so I'm just going to plug my variables in, which is 20 volts. Remember the unit. If you don't put that unit, it's wrong. And I don't want to use this one. I want to use that one. Okay, and 0.5 amps. Okay, so we solve that. 20 divided by 0.5. If you want to know a cool little trick, if you divide by half, you just multiply the top by 2. You check it in your calculator if you want, but that's going to equal 40. What unit? Ohms. That's right. 40 ohms. Resistance isn't bad. That's what's making all the sound for you. You actually want a lot of resistance in a radio. Transistors, right? They're a resistor. That's what makes the noise. That's why you can hear it. So it's actually kind of good that you have a lot of resistance. Okay, so there you go. I have that. I have that. So I solved it. Okay, I have my units. Cool. I did make sure to convert. Awesome. So I think I'm pretty good here. The last thing I got to do is my statement. Now, you can write therefore, like you can actually spell out the word therefore. Right? But I mean, I don't want to say lazy, but I'm efficient, right? So there's a quicker way to do that, which is just the triple dot. So I'll go triple dot. Therefore, the resistance is 40. Now I could write the symbol, or I can actually write it out large like that. And there you go. That's all there is to it. So my statement's done. So you just got to make sure that you follow through the steps. We're not going to do more questions because I think this is the third time in the course we've dealt with problems like this. You just have to make sure that you write out the variables, you put the formulas in, you do that. And then the thing that might trip you up most sometimes is just doing that conversion, right? Making sure we're dealing with ohms, volts, and amps, not bigger or smaller units. Anything else you want to add here, Ms. Engelhardt?
No, I think we're pretty good there.
And I think sometimes if you have like an O here and an O there, see, like I'm not sure, you can always just put a slash through your O as well, so I know it's 40. But
You mean
again,
0?
that's just, sorry, yeah, a slash for the 0 to make it a 0, right? Absolutely. This is what happens when you're only one coffee into your day. Okay. Again, as always, if you have questions, you let us know. If you're having trouble with the math, let us know. If there's questions you've solved and you just want us to check, I mean, you can just take a picture with your phone and you can email them to us and we can check to make sure you're following the right process. But otherwise, that's about it for now. Anything else you think?
Nope.
Nope. Good and easy. Okay, take care, everyone. Bye.
Bye.